So we're back from our big camping trip that we were so excited to take the bus on, and we're very sad to say that the bus did not make it with us.
We know where it is. It's at the shop. It's been there for a couple days now. We tried to go camping and we didn't quite make it.
We were on our way to the mountains, and we were about 30 minutes away from the state park where we were going camping, and we turned off the engine for a little bit, and when we tried to start it back up, it wouldn't start. So we called a mechanic to come and meet us on the road and take a look, and he was pretty quickly able to tell us that our starter had died and needed to be replaced.
He said if he had an extra one on hand, obviously he could just do it in the parking lot and we could be good to go that same day, but you know, no one has that type of starter just in the back of their truck. We eventually called a towing company and had them tow us the next morning.
So we did spend the night in the bus. We were camping, but we were just stranded on the side of the road. So it was not the experience that we anticipated. We could have gotten a tow that night, but a captain always goes down with their ship. So we wanted to stay the night in the bus like we'd planned. That just sounded better to us since no one was gonna work on it that night anyway.
But on the bright side, since we were going camping, we had our fridge with us. And so we had, you know, some cooked taco chicken ready to go. We had wraps and we had cheese, sour cream, the whole deal. So we just had burritos on the side of the road. It really wasn't that bad.
We're still waiting on the mechanic to finish fixing our bus, and we'll get it back as soon as we can.
And our plan is, as soon as we get the bus back, we're gonna start working on installing our heater. We had installed our electrical setup in one of the dinette seats, and we're saving the space in the second one to add our space heater into it. We'll be working on installing that hopefully later this week, as long as we get our bus back in time. So we currently do not have the bus, and to fill the time, because we're feeling antsy sitting at home, we decided to go to IKEA and look at kitchen countertops. When we first started the build, we really thought that we would just build everything from scratch, you know, by hand, using our own materials and whatnot. But we're already 3 months into this process and we kind of want to speed things up. So one of the things we decided was, let's just go take a look at the IKEA countertops and, you know, see if anything really speaks to us.
There's nothing better to do today, so we might as well. It's our first time ever here. All right, we got it back. It felt so crazy to have it. It was gone for like a whole week. I don't know why it took them so long, but and it cost a pretty penny, but I just feel so grateful to have it back and to be able to keep working on things. I think we both kind of felt a little bit lost this whole week not having the bus to work on. We have 2 days left to get in our Chinese diesel heater, so we're gonna see if we can get that done, but this is obviously a very abbreviated week for working on the build. Oh man. Feels good to be back. Our window covering fell down.
Oh no, now we can't shower.
Oh no. The dinette looks good though. It's holding up. Oh, I wonder what our batteries are at. 13.7 volts.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Still says 100%.
That's good.
13.6 volts. I gotta quit reading it. It's ticking down.
Alright, so we're gonna get started on the diesel heater install, but just to recap on what we did at IKEA, we were thinking about installing the IKEA cabinets for our kitchen instead of making our own. We wanted to save money and save time, but after looking at them, I think we're just gonna have to make too many unique cutouts, you know, for our large fridge, and then we want to put a TV somewhere in this system. So I think we just scrapped the IKEA idea. It was very helpful to go there, but I think we're gonna make the cabinets by ourselves.
Alright, I'm gonna light those on fire and we're gonna do it again, okay?
Alright, I'm ready. So we have everything laid out and we're trying to take inventory of everything. And it looks like they really give you everything you need in this package, even down to like the last screw. There's a couple things to note about our bus. Our bus does run off of diesel, and I have not checked yet, but we're gonna do our due diligence and see how easy it is to hook up this system to our diesel tank. But I don't think it has the right fittings, and I don't want to try to create my own. So we'll probably end up using the 10-liter drum that the kit gives you. Other than that, we're gonna get started on drilling and cutting out a square hole in our subfloor. They give you this metal plate that goes between your metal floor of your vehicle and the heater. This plate and the exhaust coming out of it does get really hot, so we just want to make sure we cut away any of the wood and insulation that we put there before. So we have everything ready to cut a square hole into the subfloor, into our second dinette seat. So I'm planning on using the circular saw we have to do that, because I need to cut away the subfloor. But I don't want to damage the blade by hitting the metal at all. I figured the best way to do it is we have some exposed subfloor over here. So I'm just going to rest my blade up against the subfloor here and then adjust the blade so that it sits about a 1/4 inch above the metal on this location. So then I know when I go cut my subfloor over there, it should be the same height and I shouldn't touch the metal. Alright, so this is what it looks like. Unfortunately, it is right above one of the 1x3 support beams we had put underneath all the plywood. And the blade of the circular saw doesn't go down all the way to cut all the way through that support beam. So we're gonna have to find a little bit of a creative solution to get it up. We got it up. That's how far the blade cut through, then we had to rip the rest. It's looking good. We almost got all the wood out.
It was pretty unlucky that the rectangle we picked just happened to be on an intersection between two furring strips. We were hoping to hit a big clear patch where there was just insulation, because that would have been really easy, but it's got to be the hard way.
So we got most of the holes drilled. We have the bolt holes lined up. And then now we have the pilot holes for the larger ones, so we've got a hole saw, and we're gonna drill those two out now, and we should just be able to drop the plate right into place. I like how our subfloor is too big, so we basically make like a little metal chamber for it to sit in.
Yeah, it's cute. Some people have dog dens, we have a heater den.
Yeah. Very cute.
When we went to install this, we realized that our subfloor is a little bit too thick for the heater to sit flush against the metal floor of the bus, which it needs to because the pipes have to run to the outside through the floor. We bought some flue tape kind of with the idea that it would help protect all the subfloor and insulation around the heater. We're kind of just making a little bit of a chamber for it to sit in the subfloor.
Cool. Making progress.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait to have a heater in here because it's so cold. It's so cold out here right now.
We picked quite the week to work on a heater install.
Yep. Alright, so we've got it fitted. We're just dry fitting it now. It's not attached. What we're going to do next is drill some holes to run the electrical cables. We're going to put the fuel pump underneath the bus, so we need to run lines for that. And then we're gonna go ahead and run the positive negative as well as the lines that run towards the little LCD monitor. We're gonna go ahead and run those under the bus. I think if we would have had this in time before we put up the dinette wall, we could have run it through the wall, but the wall's already up, and so I think we're just gonna go ahead and run the lines under the bus to our battery box underneath the bed.
So we are working on running some of the electrical lines that go to the heater, and we're kind of running them underneath the bus because the wall's already there. And it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I'm glad we didn't run all of our electrical lines underneath the bus, but just to add on the heater, it's really a pretty good option because it's pretty straightforward and there are already a lot of good places to zip tie the wires to.
So as Natalie's mentioned, we've been running all of our lines underneath the bus for the heater. The connection that goes onto the heater has 3 different wires coming off of it, all connecting to like these large head adapters. So what we've done basically is just snipped all of these. So when we run the wires, we only have to worry about running the small cable through the ground, and so we only have to drill a hole big enough for this, rather than a hole big enough for, you know, the fuse or the line for the plug. So it kind of saves, you know, it kind of keeps it clean, and we don't need to run all this, and we can just connect the wires back together underneath the bus, or when we're done running it, we can connect it over here where our batteries are. Which kind of leads me to our to this cable here. This will be connected to our LCD display. So we got some 18.3 cable, really good insulated for outdoor work. And we ran it kind of around the tire and then up through here. And we'll be connecting that back to our LCD display cable once we can run the line closer to the bedroom where we want it to be mounted.
We have these lines run. They're zip tied very neatly underneath the bus so that they should not get in the way of the tire, and they should be safe-ish. I think we have a good bit more to do with the heater, but we should be able to wrap it up tomorrow. So we're gonna go get some dinner, and we'll see you guys later. Good morning. We're back out here working on installing the diesel heater, and I'm starting off by opening these floor registers that we bought. We're gonna put them in the walls of the dinette so that there's an air intake and then an air output for the warm air. They have these little plates in them to kind of break up the airflow if you wanted to close it for some reason. I'm going to do my best to take this out carefully. I think we'll leave them in the air intake vent. Jimmy is about to cut into our dinette to put in the floor register.
I'm nervous. We're going to actually drill a hole in this perfectly nice dinette, so I hope I measured everything right. So I think it should be secure. I feel really confident in it. It feels like really good and pretty watertight. So we just installed the little nub that goes onto the 10-liter can. They don't pre-install it for you for some reason, but it was pretty easy. We just used some fishing line to fish it through the whole thing and then pull the nub through, and they give you a bolt which you can then use to fasten it on. They do come with 2 rubber rings. I used one on the inside and one on the outside for like a watertight seal, or you know, a diesel type seal. And then after that, we just ran our green tube and clipped it on with like one of like the mini tube clips that they give you. All right, so for those who are curious, this is what it looks like. I just installed the rest of the fuel pump. So we have our exhaust and our combustible air intake this way. The green tube is the fuel. So that's running down through the fuel pump, and my fuel tank is sitting directly above here. So it's coming through here, through the green line, through the fuel filter, through the fuel pump, back up into the diesel heater above here. Those 2 wires, one of those is for the power and the other one is for the LCD display, which I'm running both that way to connect to the battery and then run the LCD display so that we can set it up above our bed. So we're hooking up the positive and negative that leads to the diesel heater, and we do have a fuse block and I could run it through that, but we decided to hook it up to our positive and negative bus bars, basically hooked up directly to the battery. And that's because they warn you a lot in the manual to not shut down the heater automatically. Like, you can't just turn off the power for it. There's like a cool down sequence it has to go through where it needs to cool down the heating fins inside. So you don't want it to shut power off immediately. And since we have a switch connected to our fuse block, we don't want to ever accidentally hit that or forget about it and turn it off and then damage the diesel heater. So it comes with an inline fuse, so we're going to keep that and then just run it directly connected to our batteries.
All right, so I'll stick one side in there.
Yep.
This feels like you know, illegal.
Yeah. Oh, so there it is. So just be careful. And when it's down, use the force and keep it low to the ground when you siphon it.
Sorry.
There it is.
Woo! I'm doing it. Okay. I guess this probably feels illegal because you're not supposed to do it to other people's cars.
Natalie, what are you doing over here? What are you putting in this cup?
There's a gas shortage.
You stealing my fuel?
Yeah. When do we stop?
Maybe at the top of the ridges or something.
Okay.
So when you're done, just slowly stand up and move the entire thing higher than the fuel tank.
Okay.
Like it.
That is so cool.
This is like the world's smallest cup, so I don't know how many trips this is gonna take.
At least it's easy to pour.
Yeah, I mean we only need a little bit at the bottom, just enough to start it.
Yeah, I can kind of see it at the bottom. We're about to try turning it on for the first time. We just primed the pump, so it should work.
Yeah, wish us luck. You can kind of smell the diesel smell a little bit, right?
I can taste it.
Yeah. It's ticking, right?
Yeah, I hear the ticking. We did it!
Yeah. We have heat in June.
Great. We just tested it for the first time and it's already hot outside, so it's really warm in the bus right now. We've been crawling under the bus to get everything kind of worked out. Mostly Jimmy. I can see he has a couple mechanic stripes on his arm right now. Looks cool. I'm a little jealous, but I'm the one who got a mouthful of diesel, so yeah. I don't know who had the more authentic experience this week.
That's true. Her first one was good, but then the second one, I think she just had the taste for diesel at that point.
I did it a couple times after that, and I think I got it down, but that was my first time siphoning gas, believe it or not.
Yeah. Well, so was that funner than going on a camping trip?
Maybe. If it was winter, I think this would be really exciting. Yeah. But, I mean, this turned out funner than our attempted camping trip, so...
Yeah, that's true. This weekend was a lot funner than last weekend, that's for sure.
Yeah, last weekend was a disaster. Yes. But it was still a good experience. It's just not a fun one, necessarily.
Yeah. But I love the way it turned out. I love the little air vents we got for it. I think it looks so cute. And it's really well contained within the dinette seat, and I think we have more room for storage later as well. Yeah, very true. Yeah, it's a lot more compact than I thought. It seems to be working fine. We probably won't really test it very much until maybe October. You can probably tell we're getting a little bit sweaty standing in here, so I think we're gonna take a break, get out of the hot bus, and go get some lunch. And I think this is where we're gonna leave you guys this week, but we'll be back next week, and I think we'll be able to get a lot more done in next week's video, so. Yeah, definitely. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.